Hi, students. My name is Jean Wilwall. I'm the Director of Housing here at Longwood. So welcome to Longwood. I put together this housing application tutorial to answer many of the common questions students have about filling out their housing application for the fall. The housing application is very simple, but I've found that students having this has been helpful for them to review it prior to filling out the housing application, which will become available to students beginning June 1st. On June 1st, you will receive an email from our office with instructions to log into the Student Housing Gateway to submit your online housing application. You'll see right there is the link to the Student Housing Gateway that is also found on the housing website and also on the main website for the university underneath the Lancer dashboard. And this link will also be in the email you receive from our office with instructions on submitting the housing application. So once you log into the Student Housing Gateway, you'll see this welcome screen where your name will be highlighted, and underneath there is something called an RMS ID. The reason why I wanted to point out the RMS ID is if you have a specific student that you are going to request as a roommate or as a suite mate, you will need that student to provide you with their RMS ID. So I just wanted to make sure all of our students know where to find that information. Once you're logged in, all the way to the left-hand side of the screen, there underneath the new student application, you have a few resources available to you. The first resource available is this actual recording of the tutorial that you can view in the Student Housing Gateway. This tutorial is also available on our website as well. Underneath that, there are three other things that are important for students. The second one listed there is the actual housing application. So when you're ready to submit your housing application, you would just click on that button. Underneath there is there's a informational form about our different residence halls and apartment communities, which will provide virtual tours and information about each hall or apartment community. This information is also available on the housing website, but we've added it here in the Housing Gateway for convenience purposes for students. The other informational form that's available here is about meal plans. So if you want information about the different options with meal plans, you can take a look at that information, which can be helpful to you before submitting your housing application. Once you're ready to submit your housing application, just go ahead and click on that housing application button to begin the process. Once you click on that button, you're going to be brought here to the housing application for next year. So there's a few different things we're going to do on the housing application. You're going to be able to preference the buildings you want to be assigned to and rank order them. If you have a preference for a female floor, you'll be able to do that. And there'll also be options for a preference if you prefer a single room. And then there'll be the roommate section where you can select preferences. And then finally, you would select your meal plan. So I'm going to go through each of these sections and explain to you how you will do this. So for the first area for room preferences, once you're ready to submit your room preferences, you'll click on that green plus button that you see in that box there. Once you click on the green plus button, it's going to bring down a drop down for you to be able to select the building that you want to have as your first preference. And so what you'll do is you'll use that drop down to select each of the buildings. Once you've selected each of them, you will see them listed here in order. So this person is preferencing Johns Hall as the first choice, Moss Hall as the second choice, and Sharp Hall as the third choice. But we require students to request at least 3 buildings. Typically, most students are able to be assigned in their first or second choice. Sometimes maybe we have to go to your third, but about 95 to 97% of our students will be placed in one of their top 2 buildings. The next option that you have is if you're a student and you prefer to be on a floor that's all female, You can click that box there to let us know that. We have a couple floors set aside in Johns and Moss Hall that will provide suites on each floor that are all female. So every suite on the floor would be female. The way our housing is configured is that the other floors in the residence halls will be co-ed by suite, which means that we could have 10 suites of all females on the floor and 5 suites of all male on a floor, for example. Each suite will all be one sex, so the whole suite will be female, another whole suite would be male, but the floors are co-ed. But we do set aside a couple floors in each of those buildings for all female living, and then the other floors in Johns and Moss will be co-ed. The floors available in the other residence halls will be co-ed as well. But if you have a preference for an all-female assignment on an all-female floor, you can just click that button there to let us know that you have a preference for that. So the other section here is we anticipate we'll have a limited number of single rooms available to students. Single room accommodations will be assigned based upon student needs and availability. What that means is that first preference for single rooms would obviously go to students that have a documented disability with accessibility resources for that need, or a student with a health needs request. If we have additional single rooms, we do make those available to other students. The past 2 years, we have been able to make additional single rooms available to students, but each year, the ability to honor all of these preferences would be based upon the number of requests we receive, as well as space availability. There is a cost difference between a single room and a double room. So that's just something to consider when you're making this preference. So if you would prefer a single room, you have the option to be able to click that button to say I prefer a single room. And then underneath there, we're just asking you to kind of give us a little information as to why you have that preference for a single room. There is also a box below to let us know any information you want to let us know, not only about your single room preference if you have one, but any of your building preferences and things like that. If you want to include that in that box below, you can go ahead and do that. For an example, sometimes I may have a student that has a fear of heights, and so they want to be in Johns and Moss, but they don't want to be on like the 9th or 10th floor. They want to be on a lower floor. And so they may include that information in that box below just so that I'm aware of that, so I can take that into account when assigning students to rooms. The next section is about roommates. So students have a couple options when it comes to roommates. A roommate is the student that's going to share the bedroom with you that you're assigned to. So if you have found another student coming to Longwood that you know that you both specifically want to room together, you both can request one another as roommates. And as long as you both request one another, we will assign you together as roommates. The other option is, if you don't have a specific student in mind, we do have roommate matching questions that you can answer, and we will pair you with another student. We have a lot of students that don't have a specific roommate, and so we do the roommate matching as well. So the first thing I'm going to review is how you request a specific roommate, and then I'll review the roommate matching questions after that. So if you have a specific student that you want to request as a roommate, you're going to go ahead and click on that Create Group button that you see underneath Roommate Requests. That will bring down this section. Your name will automatically appear there if you're the person creating the roommate group as the leader. And then you have the option to invite the other student to be your roommate. Now, if you've already been invited to a roommate group, what's going to happen here is you're going to see the invitation already there for you, and then you'll just accept membership in that group. So you don't need to create a new group in that situation. You're just going to accept the membership in the group that's already been sent to you. But if there's nothing there yet, you can create the group and then invite the other student to be a member of the group with you. Something that's important to know is that students that are requesting one another as roommates, you can't fill out your housing applications at the same time. In order for the other student to see the invitation on their application, The other student has to fully finish their application first for that to be saved. And then once you've completed your application, the other student can go in and they'll see the invitation and accept it. So I just wanted to point that out because each year I get a couple students that always ask that question because they're both filling it out at the same exact time, and they won't actually see the invitation until one of them completes the housing application. But in this scenario here, I'm going to invite someone to be my roommate. So I'm going to click on that green invite button. And there's going to be a drop down. And if you remember when we first started talking about this housing application, on the welcome screen, I showed you where each student can find their RMS ID number. So for the student you're inviting to be a part of your roommate group, you're just going to ask them to give you that number. And that's what you're going to use to search for that student. That's our way of knowing that you're pulling up the right student, because there can be students that have common last names, and we could have two Smiths, here, and we want to make sure that you're selecting the right student. So go ahead and put in that RMS ID number, and then you're going to click on the search button below next to the little binoculars. Once you click on that, if a student hasn't given permission yet for their name to be displayed, that's okay. That often happens with our new students until they have finished their housing applications. What you're going to do, though, is you're going to click on the select button, okay? And what's going to happen is when you click on the select button, that student's name will now appear. And you'll see them there, and you'll see that their status is invited. Their status will change to member of the group once they've accepted membership in the group, okay? So once you've added your roommate, and something that's important to know is we're just talking about roommate requests here. So we have single and double rooms available to students. So underneath the roommate section, you're only going to be, if you have a specific student you want to room with, you're only going to be adding one student here. If you have suite mates, people that you have connected with that that you want to share the bathroom with them in the suite, there will be a section later on in the housing application to request suite mates. So right here, all we're doing here is we're going to request our roommates. So once we've done that, the next thing I want to show you is if you're a student that doesn't have a specific roommate request, we're going to fill out roommate matching preference questions to get paired with another student. So you'll see here we have 8 roommate matching questions, and they're really geared towards how you're going to share the space in the room. So we can get people together that would really be compatible in sharing a space together. Your options to answer the questions are no, yes, and no preference. No preference just simply means you don't have a strong feeling either way, okay? So you'll go ahead and fill out your answer to those questions. And then once you've done that, we're going to go on to the second page of the housing application. You'll click on the next step button at the bottom of the screen. This next area is asking you about whether you want your name and your Longwood email address to be viewable to your assigned roommates and suite mates. So why this is important is when you get your housing assignment in July, you're going to log into the Housing Gateway to look and view who your roommate and your suite mates are. But by law, we have to have you elect into that. So by default, the system is set up that it won't display that information unless you say that you want it to be displayed. Most students will want it to be displayed because you'll want to be able to get in touch with one another over the summer before you come to Longwood to talk about things that you all are bringing for the room and getting to know one another. So you can elect whether you want your name to be viewable, and you can elect whether you want your email address to be viewable to the other students. And so what you'll do is just use those 2 drop downs there to indicate whether you want it to be shown or whether you don't, okay? And then the next section here is for you to provide us with your cell phone number. That is helpful for us because when I'm reviewing your housing application, if I have any questions about what you're asking for, I'll want to be able to reach out to you as quickly as possible to get that information. And so that is really helpful for us to have that information And then also, once you're here on campus, if there's ever a need for us to get in touch with you more quickly, it is helpful for us to have that information on file. So go ahead and put in your cell phone number. And then what you're going to do is click on the next step button. So this is if you have a specific student that you would like to be suite mates with. This is where you're going to provide this information. How you do that is the same way you did for your roommate group request. You're going to click on the create group button. And what we ask here in the suite mate request section is that you not only add here the individuals that you want to be suited with, but if you have a specific roommate as well, invite them to this group as well. So for example, if you have a specific roommate you want to live with, and then you know 2 other students that you want to be part of your suite, you're going to create this group and you're going to end up adding 3 students to your group. Your current roommate, your roommate that you want to live with, and the 2 students that you want to have suited with you. Okay. And then once that group's initiated, everybody else will see that on their housing application and they will be able to accept membership in that group so we can get you all assigned together as suite mates. Okay. So, all the instructions for that are right on the screen as well. So if you forget anything that I'm explaining to you, you can just read it on the housing application when you're doing this. So if you don't have suite mates, and a lot of students don't, I get a small number of suite mate requests every year, so don't feel like you need to have one. All you would need to do on this part of the form is click on next step and go to select your meal plan. If you do have a suite mate group, go ahead and do your group part, and then click on the next step so you can select your meal plan for the fall. So this screen here is letting you know that we have received your housing preferences, okay? And you will receive an email by July 8th with your housing assignment information, and that will be sent to your Longwood email account. The next thing we need to do is select our meal plan, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the meal plan selection button there at the bottom of the screen. And that is going to take you to the Lancer Card website where you will register for your meal plan. Please note that you have through the first week of classes to change your meal plan. So you're going to sign up for one today when you're doing your housing application. But if at any point in time you decide you want to make any changes to your meal plan, you will be able to do that throughout the summer and then through the first week of classes. But what you're going to do is click on that student and staff login over there on the left-hand side of the screen. You're going to log in with your LancerNet ID and password. Once you log in, you are going to click on the Manage or Purchase a Meal Plan. And then you're going to select Students for Fall 2022. What you're going to do here is you're going to add a meal plan right now. And here you're going to have your options. So any student living in a residence hall, which would be all of our new freshmen, the only option that you're going to see is the all access plus 100 bonus dollars. Okay. And then you have the option to add additional bonus dollars to that meal plan if you'd like to. The block meal plans that you see listed are only available to students that are living in our apartment communities. So that would be a transfer or an upperclassman student living at the Landings or Lancer Park. So just so you know, if you only see the all access option, that is correct. The block plans are only available in our apartment communities. So you're going to go ahead and select your meal plan, and then you're going to click on the continue button at the bottom of the screen. And there it's going to give you just a summary that of the meal plan that you're signing up for. Here it says bill to account. So by default, your meal plan charges are going to go on your student account with your tuition bill that you're going to get sent to you in July. And so you're not needing to pay anything right now. It's the system's just letting you know that this is going to be added on to your account. So you're just going to click on the confirm button there. And once you confirm it, it's letting you know that that's all been taken care of. That's gone through. And so now, if you want to add more bonus dollars on your meal plan. So something to know is that students can tailor their meal plans to add additional bonus dollars at any time. So if you want to add bonus dollars now, you can do that, but you can also add bonus dollars at any time during the semester. So if you want to do that now, you can, or you could do it later on, but I'm going to show you how you would add bonus dollars if that's something you want to do after you've selected your meal plan. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the add bonus dollars over here on the left, which is directly below manage or purchase a meal plan. So you'll click on add bonus dollars and you'll click again fall 2022. And you'll have the option to pick from bundles of bonus dollars. The bundles range for students. So you can select your bundles in either $250, $400, $600, $750, or $850. And as I mentioned earlier, you can add bonus dollars at any time. The bonus dollars can be used at all of the alternate dining locations outside of the main dining hall. So all the locations that we have over in the Student Center for students, Chick-fil-A and Moe's, the Pod Market, at the library we have a grab and go location. So for those examples, so that's where those bonus dollars can be used throughout the semester. But once you've done that, same thing as we talked about before, you're just going to confirm that you want to add those bonus dollars onto your account. And once you've done that, then you'll get your confirmation here that that amount has been added to your student account for the fall. If you have any questions about registering for meal plans, you can feel free to contact our office or the Lancer Card office as well. We work together on this, so either office would be able to answer any questions that you might have about meal plan sign up with that. And so once you've signed up for a meal plan, if at any point in time you want to change anything on your meal plan, you would just log back in here and you would click on manage or purchase a meal plan. And once you're already signed up for a meal plan, you'll have the option to change your meal plan. So it's something that you can do very quickly and simply online. If you have any additional questions about the housing application or meal plans, feel free to give our office a call, the Residential and Commuter Life office. You can reach us at 434-395-2080. You can also email housing@longwood.edu at any time. We are very quick to respond to emails. You typically get a response within the hour of sending the email, if not within that day. So either option is very easy to get a hold of us, and we're glad to help you. Welcome to Longwood. I'm really excited to help you guys out with your housing this year. I definitely look forward to communicating all of your housing assignments to you early in July. So reach out if you have any other questions. And hopefully you found this tutorial to be helpful. Thank you.